people seem to be paying more attention to mental health now. And it's also interesting that people actually ask that you define mental health because, you know, people hardly walk up to you and ask that you tell them what physical health is because people just seem to know. But with mental health, it appears to be something that you need to pay attention to because it tends to be a bit more of a sensitive topic. So I would say that mental health it has everything to do with our thoughts and our feelings, how well we understand them, and how well we manage them and apply them to situations and circumstances that we find ourselves in. And, you know, the resultant behavior or the way that we act based on, you know, how we think and feel about events happening around us. When we talk about mental health, people usually jump to the negative aspect. This is where the stigma comes from. But it's important to note that it's not always bad. You could actually have good mental health, which is when you have an awareness of who you are, what your strengths are, what mental health problems you may be predisposed to, because we know that there are some mental health problems that have biological or familial implications. So knowing what you're predisposed to, knowing what your predisposing factors are, knowing what trigger you, and, you know, just being able to manage them well, basically. When your mental health isn't in tip-top shape, it's usually because you have very little awareness of yourself as a person, of, you know, what your thresholds are. And so in terms of stress, even in terms of anger. So anger and its management is also a big part of mental health, because we know that anger management doesn't come very easily to people. So basically, not having an awareness of who you are, what your strengths are, what your capabilities are, and like I mentioned, what you are predisposed to, what your triggers are, might precipitate ill mental health. So we find that mental health challenges may show up in different forms. So the more prevalent ones we see are depression, anxiety, different kinds of phobia. So social phobia, social anxiety, people who like to stay away from public places or may opt out of, you know, anything in the public eye, giving speeches or whatever. All of these fall under struggles in mental health. In dealing with mental health, like I mentioned, awareness is everything. Awareness will teach you when you need to unplug, when you know that you are entering a stressful period, and so you are conscious about taking time out for yourself. Awareness will help you, especially at work, to speak up about your challenges so that you are not put in roles or given work burdens that might overwhelm you. And hopefully, if you have a line manager who puts himself in a position to hear you, you know, they will find ways and means to help you deal with your role better. So if it means adjusting your schedule or giving you flexi time, you are able to manage your role at work better. Another important thing is also to find a professional or a licensed or a designated mental health practitioner to help you through challenges that you feel you can't do yourself. So yes, taking time out for self-care is important, but there are times when you might need a professional to guide you through the journey. There are times when people require medication. In those situations, it might be good to see a general practitioner who might refer you for psychiatric help. All of these things are available, but like I mentioned, you will be unable to access any of them if you don't have an awareness of where you are at in terms of your mental health. So help is available, and accessing it is a choice that I hope that everybody decides to make.